nurturing businesses with support and services to help them grow and bloom. The time by Sagicor Bank is 7 o'clock.
Tonight in CVM News at 7, free with conditions. Duo granted bail in Carnival after-party shooting. Charged. 16-year-old JC student charged after bathroom beating. Emergency is no excuse for recklessness. Authorities react to deadly basketball crash. Tri-nation spicy heritage on a plate with traditional flavors. And in sports, Edwin Allen and Hydel High retain 4x1 and 4x1 titles at Penn Relays in Philadelphia. It is Friday, the 24th of April. Thanks so much for joining us for CVM News at 7 from Kingston, Jamaica. My name is Caroline Brown. Up first this evening, podcaster J. Frey Richards and music producer Javi Ambassador Morrison have both been offered bail in the sum of $1.5 million. The men appeared in the gun court in relation to a shooting incident at the Big Wall Carnival after party on April 12, which left Richards and two other men nursing gunshot wounds. They are to report to police 3 times per week and surrender their travel documents.
This gun court is in fact a specialized court. It's an in-camera court, which means it's not necessarily open to the public, as well as you will find with all of this public attention, there will be no jury in this matter. It's a judge alone trial by the nature and structure of the court. The court considered bail today, and I'm sure I can say that both parties was very appreciative that the court was able to entertain bail at first instance. And the bail was granted in circumstances where antagonistic defenses were raised, and the prosecution would have laid out facts, and the judges fixed her mind to it and granted bail.
And attorney Isaac Buchanan says the men are banned from discussing the matter online. Richards and Morrison are to return to court on July 8.
The court struck the balance in terms of public interest by making I would call social media internet order in relation to the gentlemen who are a part of this case, my client and the other
Javel Morrison.
Javel
yes.
Morrison, thank you. And as such, they are not to discuss the case on social media. The court.
Let's move on to this update. A 16-year-old student of Jamaica College, JC, who was captured in a video violently assaulting a schoolmate, has now been formally charged by the police with assault occasioning bodily harm. JC says the altercation stemmed from an ongoing dispute over stolen items, expounding in a statement that the student who was assaulted admitted in writing that roughly 2 weeks before the incident, he took several items, including a jacket, a pair of glasses, and a sum of money from a group of boys he was associated with. The school also says the items were never returned, ultimately leading to the confrontation. Authorities say investigations continue into the matter and have not disclosed a court date. However, In the meantime, commanding officer for the St. Andrew Central Division, acting senior superintendent Mark Morris, says the others involved in the attack are also likely to be charged.
The situation is very unfortunate, and we have done a lot of intervention with the schools and the Ministry of Education and other stakeholders, and counseling and other things, and the parents are cooperating with us. So therefore advance with it. So the matter is before the court just now. The other persons involved are likely to be charged. We are just going through some statements. Too much of these things in schools, and we just want and hope that these things don't continue. But when they do continue, the police have to act, and or act on it. So that's the situation for more of us. We hope it doesn't happen, but when these things happen, the police will have to intervene and take an appropriate action.
Meanwhile, a disturbing attack involving students on a rural school bus now circulating online has triggered national concern. The clip posted on X, formerly Twitter, shows a female student being attacked by her peers on the school bus in Ocho Rios. Now, beyond the incident, advocates are raising deeper concerns about the state of violence in schools. Akeem Orit has that CVM News follow-up.
This is the shocking video posted on social media platform X, formerly Twitter, that is again sparking outrage. The account claims the victim, who is a cousin, was targeted by students from Marcus Garvey Technical High School while on her way home in a school bus. The video appears to show multiple students hitting the girl and using objects to strike her. According to Transport Minister Darrell Vaz, the incident happened in Ocho Rios at about 3:45 Wednesday afternoon. He notes the bus driver alerted the police. The minister adds that video footage and statements are now being gathered to advance the investigation. In the meantime, the Jamaica Youth Advocacy Network, JAN, says incidents like these are part of a wider troubling pattern.
There's a lack of training both from student and teacher level around conflict resolution, how to manage like outbursts, how to manage even like petty arguments that may be happening between students. There's a significant gap in that regard.
The executive director says the violence seen online this week is not unusual, but rather reflects what is happening daily in schools.
There are incidents happening between students and teachers, but they may not get to the gravity that we are seeing happening in the media, resulting in like serious injury and even, unfortunately, where death is concerned. But daily, children are fighting. We've been into schools where we're doing sessions and like they're fighting in front of us as outsiders doing sessions. And so that doesn't make news. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen. And so it's a matter of just like, one, the issues exist, but the gravity of it is seemingly increasing. We're seeing more of it in the media, and we're also seeing more grave consequences of the violence and fighting that we're seeing in schools.
The advocacy group is pointing to broader societal issues as key drivers of school-based violence. They are now calling for a national school safety audit to identify gaps and strengthen response systems.
One of the immediate gaps that we might see is just generally one, how are schools equipped to handle these issues? So when the matter gets to the 100%, who is intervening when, how, and in what way to de-escalate it? So even, for example, what we saw with the unfortunate incident at Seaford High, what I'm seeing in the news is that persons by persons I mean the school administrators, were aware of these issues. They were trying to mitigate. I understand that they separated the students who were in the conflict into different like classes and streams and those sort of things. Are those like systematic things that, different schools are equipped to manage?
Among their recommendations, the introduction of conflict resolution into the school curriculum.
Conflict resolution is a personal development issue. It's something that many of us, even as adults, have to sort of like navigate. This idea of, emotional intelligence is something that we have to just like navigate and learn. It's taught. And so if we are framing out in the sense of where we have personal development, we have health and family life education, we have guidance and counseling sessions that we're integrating in a more systemic way, not just like a one-off session that they do September morning, but throughout the term, we're having refresher courses on conflict resolution skills. We're having refresher courses on positive alternatives to, address violence or fighting and bullying and those sort of issues.
Akeem Orit for CVM News.
An emergency is no excuse for recklessness on the road. A warning to motorists following a deadly motor vehicle collision along the Boscobel Main Road in St. Mary Friday morning. As Amoy Harriet reports, 2 people are confirmed dead, while another individual is in hospital battling for life.
Traffic. There was heavy traffic for hours along the Boscobel Main Road in St. Mary Friday morning. This after a 2-vehicle crash involving 2 Probox motor cars, one of which is a public passenger vehicle. CVM News understands that sometime around 9 o'clock, the driver of the private car was rushing a sick man to hospital with the man's spouse on board when the crash happened. Speeding is believed to be a factor. Now both the sick man and his spouse died, while their driver is now in hospital battling for life.
The driver of the taxi, we're not able to ascertain his identification, his name. However, the passenger of the taxi is at the hospital being treated.
In a grim twist, reliable sources tell CVM News that relatives of the driver of the private car who were rushing to the hospital to pay for his scans were delayed after they themselves were involved in a minor crash. Julian Davis Buckle is Assistant Commissioner of the Jamaica Fire Brigade in charge of Area 2. She says she's concerned about what she describes as a lack of care on the nation's roadways.
It's a safety concern for every roadway in Jamaica. We are just not being careful enough, and some of these crashes can be avoided if we just drive with due care.
Now, this incident comes just days after a speeding ambulance was involved in a crash with a panel van at the Freeport Police Station intersection in St. James. Assistant Commissioner Buckle insists that an emergency isn't an excuse for reckless driving.
They just must use the roadway with care. Obey the road signs. I heard a police officer said something yesterday, and it resonated well with me because the private Probox that was transporting the sick man, you transporting a sick man is not automatically way for you. You have to yield, you have to proceed with caution just the same, even if you're going at a higher speed than you should have normally been going, but they just take it for granted and just drive without due care for others, road users.
Amoy Harriet, CVM News.
There's an appeal to the public this evening to stop lighting fires inside garbage skips. The National Solid Waste Management Authority, the NSWMA, says the practice is creating serious health risks in some communities. Executive Director of the NSWMA, Audley Gordon, warns that beyond the environmental impact, the fires are also proving to be costly for the agency. He's urging citizens to dispose of waste responsibly and report anyone seen setting fires.
Sometimes a dead animal, they put in and light it within the skip. They throw concrete debris in the skip. They do everything possible to destroy that vital receptacle that should be there to serve the community. It is wrong. But consider those people with asthmatic condition, other sinus issues. It's important also to acknowledge the costs involved in replacing one of these skips. One skip could cost up to $500,000. We don't want to have a situation where, you burn the skip, you throw all sort of metal and concrete things and destroy it, and we can't replace it. Sometimes a dead animal, they put in and light it within the skip. They throw concrete debris in the skip. They do everything possible to destroy that vital receptacle that should be there to serve the community. It is wrong.
We will continue with CVM News at 7 right after this.
said yes to onion rings. Now it's your turn to say yes to the onion ring zinger from KFC. KFC, it's finger licking good.
There's nothing like a Jamaican greeting.
Hello.
Blessings.
Yo, man them.
Father Mold Wagwan! Celebrating 25 years of connection. Every call, every click, every message, and every shared moment. Digicel. Pop.
Welcome back. With a section of Johns Hall Main Road in the Springmount area caved in since Hurricane Melissa, motorists from Upper St. James were diverted to the alternative route through the narrow roadways of the nearby Hopetoun district. However, residents are now frustrated with the prolonged arrangement, with no action so far being taken by the authorities to repair the collapsed road on the original route. Natasha Williams has the details.
The road is narrow. The road is awful, as you have seen, right? Up to last night, I was in an accident because the gentleman who hit the car don't know the road, and the road is narrow, and he was trying to maneuver, but don't understand the road up here. Mr. Bartlett, sir, you need to stop running up and down about tourism. There are people that can deal with that.
I've been living here for the last 44 years, and the road is in a bad condition. For years, the other day when it was election, Mr. Bartlett said and he do here, but they were supposed to come back and did not come back. But what is my problem and my concern is that this is a bypass for all the cars from Maroon Town, Kensington, even St. Elizabeth. I look at the state of the road going down. So I'm born out of my mother and live here, so that the water we don't have. We want water, we have to traverse go down to the river down there, so named Gutters. Or we have to buy water for the truck for 10,000, 6,500. We need our MP or somebody to come assist us and talk to us, sir, because I tell you, we can't continue going like this.
In the middle of Johns Hall Road, which serves as a major roadway for several adjoining communities, Hopetoun District has become the alternate route. But residents say the roads in the area, which is bordered by a precipice, is already in a deplorable state, and the heavy traffic makes it worse.
The road is narrow. The road is awful, as you have seen, right? Up to last night, I was in an accident because the gentleman who hit the car don't know the road, and the road is narrow, and he was trying to maneuver, but don't understand the road up here. Mr. Bartlett, sir, you need to stop running up and down about tourism. There are people that can deal with that.
Compounding the problem, residents say the community is without piped water for over 40 years, and their Member of Parliament, Edmund Bartlett, has turned a blind eye.
And water, please, of all of them, the water and the road is the main important thing. 44 years, no water in a line, nothing. The road stay bad where the election, as some we get right, that's what we do. Them when they tear off. Other from that, they're not business with we. Yeah. Yes, there's a no for your community for years. I don't understand what happens, sir. Why when you come on to this community, Kemshak, Hampton, Hopetoun, it's always a problem that we clink we not have for 28 years. Come, Mr. Bartlett, man, we want to see you, sir. Time now, we want to see it's about time. Trust me, we want water, we want road.
However, Mr. Bartlett told CVM News the roads are being fixed. In the meantime, residents in Springmount continue to live on the edge by digging the embankment to create a shorter route for walking and to reconnect their water.
All the dirt was actually out where the pipe was. So after we constructed this pathway, that's when they reconnected the water so the remaining community could be able to get water.
Meanwhile, Councillor for the Springmount Division, Yuval Graham, says work has started on the roadways since Monday to divert some of the traffic. He says that the National Works Agency is now doing soil testing and the scientific analysis are now being carried out in Spring Mount.
We're going to try to patch out all the potholes coming up from Cross Road, that's where East Central start, all the way through.
However, residents promised to continue with their protest, which started on Monday, if all their needs are not met. Natasha Williams, CVM News.
Rights group Jamaicans for Justice says it will continue to push for changes with a new gun law, which stakeholders argue runs the risk of criminalizing ordinary citizens. Amid continued criticisms from the National Security Minister, Executive Director Michael Jackson notes the group wants a more collaborative working relationship with the government. Here's more from Crystal Williams.
When asked about the amendments to the Firearms Act in relation to imitation weapons, as referenced in Parliament, the Executive Director for Jamaicans for Justice JFJ, Michael Jackson, says this is a consultative process to which the JFJ has made and will continue to make contributions.
It's important that Parliament listens when reasonable proposals are made. We welcome the announcement by Dr. Chang that Parliament will be minded to review and make the reasonable adjustments that were recommended. And I think it's important that we recognize the importance of judicial discretion to avoid the miscarriage of justice.
She continued to emphasize the importance of not treating someone like a criminal where a criminal offense has not been committed. Board Secretary-elect for the JFJ, Kenyatta Powell, believes that the government has a daunting task of trying to mitigate crime and violence issues being faced in the country. However, he says elected politicians are not above accountability.
It is important, we think, that in a democracy, we don't just you have an election every 4 or 5 years, and then the government doesn't pay attention to what the people are saying, or in this case, to what experts, people who have experience in the field, people who are defense attorneys, people who are human rights activists, who could see some of the potential problems with what the government was trying to achieve, commendable as they achieved what they were trying to achieve was.
The organization is requesting a more collaborative relationship between the government and accountability bodies.
So we're not anti-government in any way, quite the contrary. Anti-police or anti-government, because that is also the sentiment. I've personally written to the Deputy Prime Minister, Dr. Horace Chang, extending an invitation for a meeting. We have not yet been afforded even a response in some of those instances. The research that we launched a few weeks ago, it was shared with Dr. Chang's office. We did not get a response. So JFJ, we are never the ones who are anti-anything. Quite the contrary, we put ourselves forward even when the government does not respond to the organization.
Crystal Williams reporting for CVM News.
State Minister in the office of the Prime Minister, Senator Abka Fitzhenley, says the narrow bill is important to breaking the back of red tape, which often delays important national projects. Senator Fitzhenley says the bill has achieved the right balance between maintaining accountability mechanisms and ensuring the timely delivery of major initiatives. He adds this balance is essential to the Hurricane Melissa recovery and reconstruction efforts, adding careful reading of the bill reveals it contains provisions for accountability and probity. Senator Fitzhenley says concerns about the bill in the context of accountability and probity lacks merit.
Look, for far too long, Jamaicans have heard of initiatives, projects which are supposed to transform communities. But when they ask for an update, they are told, oh, well, it's at the procurement phase. It's before this committee, it's before that committee. The Prime Minister's sense is cognizant of this fact, and that it is very important to marry the standards of accountability, transparency and probity with the speed that is needed to ensure that projects which are in the best interest and have significant potential to transform the lives of the Jamaican people, in fact, materialize. And that is some important context, I believe, to why NAR is crucial to the future transformation of the Jamaican society.
Traumatized is how members of the Montego Bay New Testament Church of God feel after experiencing Wednesday's shooting death of their church sister, Cora Thompson. Chairman of the Jamaica Umbrella Group of Churches, the JUGC, Bishop Roy Notice, says the wider church community is angered by the incident. Carla Ramdeen has another CVM News follow-up.
Chairman of the Jamaica Umbrella Group of Churches, Bishop Roy Notice, says the wider church community is shocked and angered by the disrespect for human life, adding that a sacred place has been invaded and desecrated.
Any nation that is a decent nation always has a respect for religious spaces. And whenever those spaces are invaded or desecrated, it is not just the church that must lament, but the whole nation must lament, because it sends a signal that we are really experiencing a spiritual and moral crisis.
Anglican priest and human rights advocate Father Sean Major Campbell explains that while the shooting itself is shocking, the country has become desensitized to violence.
This probably doesn't sound good to say, but for me it's no longer a shock because the reality is we live in a country where this can happen at any time. We're also in a context with an epidemic of bullying and a country where it's okay to take pride in saying, "Me not check chat from a boy, me box down the girl," and all that kind of thing. And it is cheered on in many circles.
Father Major Campbell says Jamaicans should be aware of giving into fear and instead spend more time on sensitizing each other about respect.
Instead, we should use our voices and our actions to be agents of healing, agents of peace, agents of transformation. So, we go to as basic as from the level of school. A lot of violence is taking place in school, but so is a lot of praying and school devotions. We need more times placed on sensitizing each other about respect and care for the other.
Carla Ramdeen, CVM News.
CEO of Jamaica Environmental Trust, Dr. Theresa Rodriguez Moody, is urging caution about drilling for oil off the Jamaican coast, I beg your pardon. She says this process could severely affect the environment. More from Carla Ramdeen.
CEO of the Jamaica Environment Trust, Dr. Theresa Rodriguez Moody, believes Jamaica could face climate and environmental risks during oil exploration. Dr. Rodriguez Moody argues that the environmental risks are significant, noting that oil spills are not uncommon. She adds that Jamaica does not have a strong track record of managing environmental risks.
I think that when we're looking at developing a new extractive industry, one that is really entirely new to Jamaica in terms of, what it means to now drill wells and what could happen with a potential spill, blowout. These are things that I think we have a long way to go in terms of how we're going to manage. I mean, if we look at the conversation in terms of should we go ahead, the environmental risks are significant and great, and we don't really have a good track record of managing environmental risks and clean up after ourselves.
She reasons while many are focused on the potential economic benefits, the outcomes will depend heavily on the kind of negotiations that take place between the companies and the government of Jamaica.
A lot of times what we see in these industries is that it makes people rich, but it doesn't make countries rich necessarily. It actually exacerbates inequality. So you have a lot of people that things getting more expensive and they no longer can afford it. So it really can exacerbate social risks, economic risks, and challenges in a country.
She stresses that there needs to be more conversations outlining the potential downsides of the venture. She cautions that the country should not be blinded by the promises of economic gains, adding that Jamaica should focus on expanding its renewable energy sector and move away from dependence on fossil fuels.
I think there's too much confusion even at the government level. 1 minute we're talking about we need greater climate finance, we need funding for adaptation, we need all of these different things. We need energy security. And the next minute we're saying, let's go ahead and let's drill.
Carla Ramdeen, CVM News.
More in a moment.
Say yes to the new onion ring zinger from KFC. The time by KFC is
7:30.
There's nothing like a Jamaican greeting.
Hello.
Blessings. Yo, man them.
Father World Wagwan! Celebrating 25 years of connection. Every call, every click, every message, and every shared moment. Digicel, powered by you, connected by us.
We finally said yes to onion rings. Now it's your turn to say yes to the onion ring zinger from KFC. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Quartz is having a massive flash sale from Saturday, April 25 to Monday, April 27. Shop smart TVs as low as $19,999. Get mattresses, dining, lounge, and bedroom pieces starting at $29,999. And stoves and fridges as low as $34,999. Don't miss out on these limited offers. Hurry to your nearest Quartz store and save big. The Quartz flash sale, April 25 to April 27. Quartz, bringing value home.
Welcome back. Food covers bloodlines, and the season stories show just how people come together in a special way, all with traditional flavors. Let's see how far this mix takes us.
So this is our traditional flavors.
Fadalo,
What does that mean?
come and eat.
What's fat but full of flavor? Be it crispy, pot roast, hot off the grill, stewed, jerk. So many ways you can do this meat. In a go-to Jamaican line, that has to be pork. But today I'm in Nollis, Bog Walk, and I want to go inside this home-based kitchen to introduce to you another style. Of course, there's the Jamaican culture, but it doesn't stand alone because there's a culture of another country right there in the mix. Living loud here is another example of why Out of Many One People is so dynamic, shaped by the diaspora.
I'm Marina Zan.
I'm Labib Azan, operator of Reggae Flames.
Though raised on yard soil, they acknowledge the values of their parents from different homelands for lighting big fires in their kitchens. So their spark from the 80s is still blazing. Mrs. Azan's father came directly from India and fell for her Jamaican Indian mother.
I got my role model from my mom. She used nothing to make something. God bless her soul, she had passed. And I saw my mom only cook with garlic, onion, scallion garlic, and her food was always awesome. And I learned from her cooking.
Mr. Azan's roots? The Middle East. So spice meets spice, fused with hospitality and rich seasoning, which brings us to the oven-jerked pork and more.
The culture of our family, the Lebanese, you have to go into the kitchen with your mother and father, and you learn from there. I also had a very good friend who taught me certain things. He died now, so I learned from there, and I now become a qualified cook. I call myself the dancing chef.
Why?
Because I enjoy what I do, and I enjoy when you say to me the food is nice. That's the joy my wife and I get out of it.
It's not the money, it's the joy we get and the love we put into the food that make you happy.
You mentioned Lebanese now, so tell me about merging that with the Jamaican-ness in you.
All right. As a Lebanese, you know, a lot of people migrant come here. You have all sorts of race that come to Jamaica. My dad and mom came here. And we were born in Jamaica, but we are from Lebanese parenthood. So what we do, we learn everything. We were brought up, born in the country, in Christiana, Manchester we were born. And all of us grew up there, and we know local food, Lebanese food, I do Chinese food, my chef do international food. We mix and we learn. We don't take things as granted. We learn everything, we test and we try, and it becomes perfect.
And so was pork one of the meat? The homemade spices and sauce, and cutting into the meats next time. Let's now check out what's happening on social media with Michael Paul.
So, a lot has been happening in the courts as a Jamaica College student seen in a viral video assaulting a schoolmate has been arrested and charged with assault occasioning bodily harm. In other news, podcaster JD Jeffrey Richards and music producer Javi Ambassador Morrison has been granted bail in the sum of $1.5 million following their appearance in the gun court on Friday. The charges stem from a shooting incident at the Big Wall Carnival after party, which left Richards and two other men nursing gunshot wounds. As part of their bail conditions, both men are required to report to the police station 3 times per week, surrendering all travel documents, and observe a court-imposed curfew. Additionally, they have been barred from discussing any aspect of the case on social media or other online platforms. Let's hear your reactions. At Don Turan comments, give the big man them 9 p.m. bedtime, walk and talk, I forgot tell Jay what go on a road at night time. At Nino_TNS comments, can't go out or leave the house before 6 a.m. and have to be in by 9 p.m. Jaja, but better than Nina lock up still. At Call Me Jewels says, we better thank God, because if I did some regular somebody like me and my friend them, we not see road no time soon. It's a good look still, just do the right thing. At Donna Lee Boss Lady comments, people take this as an example. Both men are losing money, legal expenses, in addition to not making your regular income. The beef is not worth it. At Sheldon_Sky_ says, make sure to reach inside by 4:50. And that's what's trending online today. Continue to share your thoughts with us on X at CVM TV and CVM_television on Instagram and Facebook. I'm Michael Paul.
Sports is next.